This video's been a long time coming, and this is probably about the 10th take I'm going to do of this video today. I just can't talk today. I keep stumbling over my words. So, of course, this video is about the Neo Geo. Now, it's not about the AES, of course, which I wish I did have an AES, and for more nostalgic reasons. But you really don't need an AES to enjoy Neo Geo games, because you can still get the original arcade hardware. That's a consoleized version of the arcade hardware, which is what I recommend if you want to save some money overall. You're pretty much getting the same games you get on the Neo Geo console. There's a few minor differences that I want to go over. It's nothing too bad, but it's something to kind of look out for if you're looking at picking up one of these consoles. There may be some solder work. Unless you're content with the BIOS that comes on these systems already, you may have to do some soldering work, or you may have to pull a chip off of a board and get something called like a Neo BIOS Master, something like that. And what that does, that allows you to upgrade the BIOS chip in these things, because these units that I have that I'm going to show you has the BIOS, but it's soldered directly to, it's surface mounted directly to the board. And I hate surface mount. I always pull off pins when I remove anything that's surface mount, or I should say, I remove the traces and not the pins. Can't talk today. I'll leave that in. So this is what I got, and you can get these on Amazon now. A company called Time Harvest actually sells these. Now, this is a Neo Geo Consolized MVS. This is basically the arcade in a small unit. This isn't FPGA. It's not emulation. You are getting the real thing. Pretty much exactly the same thing that you get on the Neo Geo AES. Only differences is there is no memory card on this yet. There is a solution. The people do the Neo BIOS Master. I actually have I threw my email in there because they're out of stock, but they have a new version of the BIOS Master that I put in here. A new version that actually has memory card storage on board, so I can finally be able to save my progress in some games. I don't know how that actually works, though. I've never actually used the save function. Even when we rented a Neo Geo once, I never really used the save function. As a matter of fact, I think when we rented it, it didn't have a memory card. So I remember playing like Magician Lord and just leaving it on pause so I could play it later, So this light's getting annoying. I do apologize about that. I'm going to go ahead and just disconnect that light real quick. There we go. Yeah, that light was getting kind of annoying. And I've already done some minor, just some minor upgrades on here. I will get that Neo BIOS Master with the VMC, and yeah, I suppose you wonder why I'm wearing the gloves. Well, the reason I'm wearing the gloves is because this thing is a fingerprint magnet. So these come out of China, and I'll put the link for the Amazon one on here, because I think that's the better place to get it. eBay, you may be running around with alternate sellers and people looking to probably rip you off, so I'd be careful with that. I mean, it's not like it's rampant. I mean, this is a system that even the bootlegs, seem legitimate at this point. So I'm going to take the cover off of this one really quick. Kind of show you now. Please excuse my soldering work. I'm not the best at soldering things. But I'll show you what's inside here. I don't want to tilt it too much because I don't want these to come out. So what you see is, that is Neo BIOS Master. That's a newer version. This one doesn't have the save function. And then I've got this 4.0 ROM. I got this from a seller on eBay. I can leave the link to that. It's a French seller, but they have pretty good ratings when it comes to these. So that's definitely something to look at. So what this unit does is it latches on to the CPU that's in here, and it allows you to bypass the chip that's down here. Now the chip down here, you notice I took the chip out completely, and I did tape that up. This is an older version, so you do have to actually go in and run bodge wires to the actual pins. It's pin 10 and 12. So just keep that in mind if you get the older one. The newer ones, you don't have to do any soldering. All you have to do is disable the chip or remove the chip. I decided remove the chip was the easiest thing with my Hacko. I just went with the Hacko, heated it up, and then just turned it on and just went through every little pin and removed the solder, took it off. At first I wasn't using it, and I ended up like uplifting a pin, so my bad. And then the battery compartment, it came with a different battery, like the standard battery that you would see for here. It's a 3-prong battery, but I just said to hell with it. I just put it on this board here and then just made my own little battery compartment. Just double stick taped it to the adapter. I tried to go in and mess with it, but once again, because of these boards, the traces are very easy to lift. And I saw a trace coming up on the positive side, and I was like, nope, I'll just keep it like it is. I think this is a better solution anyway than the battery compartment that I had. So yeah, as you can tell, I put a heatsink up. The heatsink doesn't come stock. I'm getting more heatsinks. I don't know, I have a habit of wanting to put heatsinks on all these open chips. That's just something of a personal preference. I feel more comfortable thinking that the chip's going to run cooler. I don't know if that's the case. And then you get this massive, inside you have that massive double-edge connector right there. And this has its, if you look back here, it has a lot of different things modded to it as well for audio out. This thing does, and I said at the beginning, this is not, emulation. This is not an FPGA. This is an actual hardware revision of this board. This is a new channel, actual SNK board with a JAMA harness in the front. And then in the back, it does have all the encoding to run your various outputs. I like the way this case is made because if you have a way to, like a laser cutter or something like that, you can make your own case if you wanted to. Or if you wanted to make it out of wood, if you wanted a 3D print a case, you have those options. So the outs that you do get component. Of course, you'll get the composite out as well. You get the S-video. And then you get this RGB out. Now, the RGB out is the most interesting part. So this system was designed with the Sega Genesis Mega Drive pound cable in mind. So this is an RGB out, but this is a Sega style RGB out. So if you have a pound cable lying around, that's definitely, and that's what I'm using right now. 720p looks amazing on some flat panel monitors that I have. I would rather, of course, use the RGB out for capture only, and then actually get a TV. And that's what I'm looking for right now. I'm actually looking for a CRT that does have component. It's proving very difficult to find TVs with component. Excuse me. As I always mess up, it's getting hard to see TVs with component. I always say component when I mean composite, so I don't know what the hell. It's like a friggin' nervous tick that I can't get over. Blah. So let me go ahead and put this back together. I'm not going to do any gameplay in this video. What I'm going to do is actually do a Twitch stream and then just kind of do a highlight of the Twitch stream. don't know if I'm supposed to say Twitch on here. Yeah, I don't know. YouTube's rules gotten really stupid lately. Like you can't say anything about a competing platform. I'm like, why? People use these platforms together. I don't know the rules anymore. I haven't done really videos in a long time. I had another channel and you know, I had some decent number of subscribers. I had about 500. That was, I mean, for me, that's fine. I don't really care if people like or dislike my stuff. This is just another thing to do. Keep myself occupied. Oh yeah, let me get these screws back on. And I'll show you the cartridge as well. I'll show you the controllers. Primarily, I use this controller, which is the 8BitDo arcade stick. I was kind of bummed out by this stick, though. Meaning it's not compatible with a lot of stuff. But the stuff it is compatible with, it works amazingly. But I usually use that. And of course, this has on the front, it's got USB. You can use USB controllers or the actual Neo Geo controllers, or you can make your own, of course. One thing to note, which this was weird, I can use the X input on the 8BitDo just fine on here with no problems. I have X input or like the PC zero lag encoders that I had bought with the arcade kit originally. Doesn't work with this. What actually works with this is a PS3 or PS4 encoders work, but that's it. You might get away with an Xbox 360 encoder, but not the Xbox One encoder. It's a weird thing. I think that 8BitDo might be using an older version of the Xbox the Xbox controller, like the Xbox 360 controller. That's probably why the only reason it's working. So, of course, I got this with. I don't have any other games. I just have the banana cart. This is a bootleg cart. This is what I play primarily. I am ordering games. I've actually ordered some repros, and I've actually ordered some original games. So I'll be going over those as I play. Now, of course, I do stream video game footage. Not as much. I wish I could do it more, but I do have a full-time job, so it does kind of. That. So if you don't like this style where it goes straight into the... There is another version of the Consolized MVS that actually has like a slide loader. It kind of comes in at like an angle, so you don't have that high footprint right there. I like it like this because I like looking at the cartridge. I like seeing how towering these cartridges are. But yeah, I would suggest getting it with the multi-game cartridge. I don't know what your thoughts are on basically piracy. But the same thing with like the bootleg carts that you can get. It's like SNK is not making these cartridges. So I feel it's justified in the fact that if the cartridges were available, people who play Neo Geo will buy them. Usually people who play Neo Geo, money is not the biggest option, the biggest obstacle for them. If you're getting into this, you have a little bit of extra money to throw around. But if you just want to play Neo Geo and you don't want to spend a lot of money, getting one of these would probably be good for your wallet as well. I mean, either way, you're going to spend up to $600 or more just to get started. I've probably spent about $700 already with the upgrades and the controllers I did. So, plus the games that are on their way. And the games I want to get that, you know, I want to There's a company, Time Harvest does it. And that's who does this system as well. Time Harvest, and I forgot the other company, but I'll put the Time Harvest link. They make reproduction Neo Geo games and pretty much any game you want. And I would definitely, if there's a game out there that's over, that's over $200, I would say, hey, get a bootleg of it. Like Super Spy is expensive. I know NAM 1997 is expensive. Cross Swords 2 is very expensive from what I was looking at. Those are the kind of games that I would recommend getting a bootleg of. Until you find one for a price that you want. But I doubt you're going to find those games for less than $200 right now. I could be wrong. So, and the other, I want to go back to the controllers really quick. So, I made some shoebox controllers. These aren't perfect. Hence that I'm waiting for a different button because the buttons that I had, this had to be fixed. The buttons that I had just were not working for there because I had these full-size buttons. I had to put a button like this in there with an adapter because the way I built it, this was interfering with this. The switches were hitting each other. So, but these controllers, I made these around within the same weekend. And this is my other one. Instead, I put a button up here, which still caused me an issue because I ran into here and had to fix this. Oh, it was a nightmare. So you might see these two controllers. One of these are actually lower than the other one because this button right here, I had to cut out a hole here because there's a lip in here that was preventing this button from going in. But I pretty much rectified that with the newer controller that I made. The buttons are a little bit more down. These were made with my hands in mind. I like having my hand kind of hang off of an arcade stick like this, if you notice that. I kind of like having that because it kind of gives me a little bit more leverage. And I'm much quicker with the buttons. I kind of like having like a thumb rest down there. I mean, and that's just me. So yeah, this was my Player One controller. Works really good, has the input. And then online, I ended up buying these. I'm going to link these as well. These are very nice. That's the kind of USB input it has. Just the old, I guess, D-style USB connector. I don't know the proper name of it. But these were nice. Makes a nice, clean, and easy job. I did that for both of them. And I used the PlayStation 3 Encoder. I didn't use all the buttons. So this is mapped to the digital. That's the only way you can really map it unless you wanted to break apart the middle button. So this is mapped to the digital. Works great. All the diagonals work, all of that. And these are mapped to the, of course, the face buttons on the PlayStation 3 controller. This is mapped to start. This is mapped to the select, which basically puts in the coins. I'm getting not as tall though. I'm getting a smaller button for these, so there will be buttons in here. This is just for turbo, but I'm having an issue with the turbo on this one. Because once I hit turbo, I have to reset the console to get the turbo off. To be honest, you can just go in the cheats menu and turn auto fire on or off. Yeah, auto fire is kind of tricky on the Neo Geo because you put on auto fire and all the buttons auto fire. If you have any ideas of how to do a quick and dirty auto fire where you can set it for each button, I'd love to know. because I could, if I knew how to do it, I could put a switch above, like a little switch above each one of these, like maybe a rocker switch or something like that, or a tiny like switch, maybe like in the middle somewhere, where I can switch on turbo on each button if I wanted to. So that might be something for the future. I'm still trying to see how these play. What other ideas you can use with the PlayStation encoders? I'd love to have rumble on here. Wouldn't that be cool to play like a fighting game and every time you get hit, it's like... You could put some significant rumble motors in these damn things. This one doesn't have a base yet. It doesn't have any feet. I'm going to tear this off. But what I did is I just put cork at the bottom of this one. But I kind of don't like it. I don't know. This was something this was cork that I had bought at like a dollar store. But really, it sticks on very well, but it flakes off on the edge. And these controllers worked spot on. I had to do some adjustments because there was a few things like the wires were kind of going into itself or going into the buttons and stuff, so I had to kind of route that. But other than that, I mean, I'm impressed by what this thing can do, and I'm so glad. I did a review of the Neo Geo Mini, and I did say in that video that's probably going to be the last mini console I bought. I may change my mind on the mini consoles, but officially, this is the last console that I'm buying. I'm actually getting rid of some systems. Reason being is I want to focus my attention on a few systems at a time. So right now, the systems that I have right now, if I want to play TurboGrafx or SNES, I do have either the mini consoles or I have a Retro Freak that plays those. They'll play Game Boy Advanced. I'm covered there. I have an Amiga 1200 that I'm going to solely use for Amiga stuff. My 4000's actually going to go. It's going to get sold. It took me a while to decide that, but I want to sell it. Commodore 64 Mini, that's fine. Got a Commodore 64. But the main systems that I'm playing right now is the NES, all my Sega Genesis and Master System stuff. I have it on the Mega SG, which is definitely an awesome system. I already reviewed that. The 3DO, of course. I'm still a firm believer in the 3DO, and the main reason I have a 3DO is two games in particular. The Wolfenstein version on the 3DO is a definitive edition to me because that has everything. I think it's amazing. And Cannon Fodder. And there's other Amiga games too, like Syndicate and stuff like that. That's why. That's why I'm playing it mainly because of the nostalgia of those, especially those early Amiga titles that I can get on there. That's the main reason for it. It's not like it's the greatest system ever, but I think it's a system that didn't get its due when it came out. I think it was underappreciated for what it was at launch. And expensive as hell. It's like the Neo Geo too. The Neo Geo was underappreciated. It was just seen as a rich person's console. It wasn't seen as anything else, at least as far as, my neighborhood. Everybody's like, oh, you had that console. I know one person who has it. He's loaded. His dad's a doctor and his mom's a scientist. But yeah, that's all I have for this one. I know it kind of ran on long, but sometimes I just like to shoot the shit on these videos. I will do some reviews on more games that I get. I'll go over the difference between what the bootlegs are as well as the MVS cartridges. As it stands now, I don't know When I'll be getting the new updated Neo BIOS Master with the VMC, which is that virtual memory card, I'll keep you posted on that as well. I'm not going to do a video about it. I'll just start featuring it when I put videos on here of Neo Geo footage. I'll just feature it as is. Show what that memory card does on one of my streams. I think that'll be easier, and I'll just take the footage out of there and show you guys what that does. And that's about it for now. It's because it's not going to be an exciting. It's not going to be an exciting modification. All I do is pull it off the processor, put the other one, or got to desolder the crap. Take it off of the processor, put the new one on, and then put the BIOS chip in there. Well, I do it the other way, but that's all it's going to be. So I don't think it's going to be exciting. It's like, at the most, a 5-minute modification. 1 minute to open the console, 3 minutes to finagle everything together, 30 seconds to go, and then another minute to put the lid back on. That's it. But I will keep you posted. And I do want to actually do a video where I take the multi-game apart, take an actual MVS card apart, and then take one of the new bootlegs apart. Because I want to show the differences, because there's big differences in the bootlegs compared to the original cartridges. But everybody stay safe out there in Plague Land. I'll do videos when I can. Like I said, I do work a full-time job, so if you do like my stuff, this is what you're gonna get. You're just gonna get me rambling on. No credits, no thumbnails. This is all just basic. What you see is what you get, because I'm not nearly as refined as these other channels, and I don't want that. I don't want to be refined. I just want to show you what I have, do some gameplay footage, give you a little bit of entertainment, and if I don't give anybody entertainment, I'm entertaining myself. But everybody stay safe out there, and I will see you in another video. I do promise that. May not be right away, but take care.